Hi everyone, I am Suman. In this video we will discuss how to handle missing values using Pandas. So there are some functions available in Pandas through which you can just handle the missing values. So let's discuss those. So before that, you can see I just imported the necessary libraries, the Pandas and NumPy, and I will just try to read the data also. So this is the Titanic dataset. So if I just give data.head off, so you can see we just have there are some few columns. This is a Titanic dataset which I have just downloaded from Kaggle. So if I just see what's the shape of this, so we just have 891 rows and 12 columns. And if I just check, is there any null values in this data? So we just want to impute null values, right? So let's check, is there any null values? So I'll just check data.isNull off. So when we just give data.isNull off, so it will just check whether is there any null value or not. So if there is any null value, so it will just return true. So you can see here in the cabin column we just have true we just have, right? So in the sense we just have null values in the cabin column. So if you want to get the total count of null values, you can just give dot sum of. So now you can just get the total sum, total amount of total null values. So you can see in the age column we just have 177 null values, and in cabin we just have 687, and in embarked column we just have 2 null values, right? And also even there is another way you can just check that. So you can just give data.info off. So even through this method you can just check. So you can see we just know total number of rows is 891, but you can see in the age column we just have 714. So the remaining columns are values are null values. And also you can just see the cabin, only 204 values are present in 891, and the remaining values are null. And similarly this embarked, right, we just have only 880, we just have 889 of 891. So we just have 2 missing values, 2 null values in embarked also. So even through this method you can just check, and also you can just see data type of each column. So we just have integer, float, object, right? So integer and float we just know. Object in the sense we just have the string type. So you can see here you can see the name. So we just have the name, right? So this is a string, right? So that kind of data type is called as object. So that's here. So now let's try to impute these null values. So let's try to handle these missing values. So to handle that, we just have few functions available. So first method you can just do, so you can just drop the values, right? You can just drop the rows which have null values. So for that you can just use data. So you can see we just have drop and drop NA, right? So when I just use drop NA off, so it will just drop the rows which contain a single null value. In the entire dataset, if a row contains a single null value, it will just remove that entire row, right? So that's this drop NA off. So you can just use this drop NA off method to just drop the rows. So it's not preferable, since if we just drop the entire rows, we are just losing some information, right? So that's the reason we should not use, mostly we should not use this drop NA off. So but this is a method, this is an available method to drop the null values, right? So that's you have to remember. So you can just use data.drop NA off, and you can just, so even there are other methods also. So I will just use data.fill NA, right? I will just use data.fill NA off, and if I just use shift tab, you can see the arguments for this fill NA off. So first one is value, right? So in that null value, what value you have to replace, so that you have to specify in this value argument. And in the method you can just specify what method you have to use to fill, right? Whether you have to use, so we just have C, backfill, B fill, pad, F fill, we just have few methods. So in the sense, so you can see here backfill or B fill, what it will do means it will just use the valid observation, for the null value, the above, like the next value observation to the null value, it will just consider that and it will just fill the null value with that value. So that's what this backfill or bfill do, and similar to that of similarly this ffill, right? So that's the use of these methods. And here we just have axis also, so you can just specify whether you have to fill the missing values in rows or columns using this 0 or 1. And here you just have in place also. So what this in place will do means, so generally if you just use data.fillNA of 0, so what it will do means in the entire data, like wherever we have null values, it will just replace that with 0 and it will just return that, but it will don't, like it won't reflect that to the original data set. So if you want to make changes, like if you want to reflect these changes what you have made here to the original data set, you can just give in place is equal to true, right? So that's what, that's so that's the use of that in place is equal to true. So here let's fill one by one, right? Let's fill a column by column. So first let's take age column. So I will just use data of age dot fill NA of. So instead of this 0, let's try to fill with that mean value, like like the mean value of that age column. So in order to get the mean value, we can just use data of age dot mean of. So what the output we will get using this. So you can see we just got 29.69, right? So this is the mean value. So you can see I'm just replacing that with the mean value. So generally we used to do the data type of a particular column is integer or float. We used to impute with a mean, and if it is an object, we used to impute with mode, right? So that's a basic, like that's a basic kind of imputation. So if you want some other, like if you want to fill with some other methods, you can just do that. So here I'm just using mean. So and also I will just give in place is equal to true. Now if I just check data dot is null of sum of, so you can see in the age column we we just have 0 null values, right? So we just imputed that with this mean. So that's the reason we don't have any null values. And similarly you can just use, so even there is another method like replace of. So let's use that. So for that I will just use data of, so here we just have embark, right? Let's take that. So I'll just use replace of. So if I just give shift tab, you can see the arguments for this replace of. So the first one is to replace. So what's the value you have to replace? So which value you have to replace? We just want to replace null value, right? So we just want to specify that here. And so instead of in place of that, what value you have to replace? So we just want to give that here in the value argument. And similarly we can just give in place is equal to true. So let's give we just want to specify null value, right? So in order to specify that, so we will just use numpy, right? Numpy package. So we'll just give np dot nan, right? So for it means it's a null value, right? And what we have to replace? We just want to replace. So since it is an object data type, we just want to replace with a mode. So let's try to give data of embarked dot mode of. So when let's check what will be the output for this. So we just got an index and also the value. So in order to get that yes, so we can just access that using that index. I will just give 0 here. So you can see when we just give 0, we will just get yes, right? So this is the mode for this embarked column. So we are just filling that with mode. So you can see we just got the output. Now let's try to give in place is equal to true. Now if I just give once again, if I just give is null of dot sum of, so you can see, so even this embarked column we just have 0 null values. So that's how you can just use this FILLNA of and this replace of functions to to handle the missing values. And also there is another method through which you can just fill these missing values, that is interpolate, right? So we can just use data dot interpolate of. So you can see the arguments for this. So we just have a method axis, right? So in the method, so you can see we just have a linear, time, index, nearest. So there are a lot of methods available. So like we can't able to just specify the value which we have to replace, like which where like how we have specified here, like in the replace of an FILLNA of functions, right? So we can't specify the value directly to replace. So we can, like, instead of that, we just want to specify the methods, so that using that methods, the function itself will calculate what should it replace instead of that null value, and it will replace that. So here we just, like, we can't able to specify directly what like what value you have to replace, right? The only thing you can just do is you can just specify the method name which you want. So you can see the explanation also. So you can see the pad method which we discussed in the previous case, and nearest, right? Nearest in the sense, like, which is it will just replace with the nearest values for that null value. And similarly we just have some other methods also. So you can just replace this even this, you can just replace the null values using this interpolate also. So these are the methods through which we can just able to replace. So I hope you understood, like, how to replace the missing values, like how to handle the missing values with the functions available in Pandas. So that's it for this video. So if you feel this video is helpful for you, like the video, and if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, and thanks for watching.